Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Earlier in the season, when it was the Reba 4 strong, were you still hoping that your final three would be Austin and Julie? Like, was that always the goal?
Yeah, of course, they're my number ones, but also early on in the game, I didn't think about final three. I think that it's a huge mistake to be early on in the game thinking about final three, because I feel like that's when you're going to lose the game. Because then you see someone else as a threat and then you go for them and they come for you and they take you out before you. So I knew that they were like my number ones. And I was more than happy to sit next to them final tribal, but also I don't know what was going to happen in the game. So I can't start telling them I'm going to take you to final three when it's like so early on in the game, you know?
You had a pretty smooth game, it felt like, up until Austin tells you it's going to be a Julie vote. Was this the
Yeah.
first time you kind of like got concerned?
Um, Not so much concerned to the point where like I gotta take this by the horns. Like, this is my move to make right now. And more than just my move to make, the way I thought it was, I gotta save my number one. Like, I will go to war for my number one. I gotta save her. So more than just the move, like the moves will play themselves out, right? Like strategy, everything will play themselves out. Everyone wants to go on Survivor, build this strategy, like build this resume. And it's like, no, it will come to you. Just like how this opportunity came to me. And it was just more of like all right, opportunity knocked, I got to open the door and I got to make sure that I play it correctly. Like, I got to make a big decision now. And from the moment he told me that 15 minutes before tribal council, like all of that happened right away.
Wow.
So it was more of all right, you got to put your freaking pants on. Like, this is it. Like, this is Survivor, right? Yeah, that was wild.
Obviously, you couldn't give Austin a heads up and pay him back because he would have played an idol for Drew. But did you consider it?
Yes, I did consider it. So what the audience sees is one confessional of me thinking, should I tell Austin? Should I not? That's one confessional. I thought about this like all day, all day, all day. I was like, oh my God, am I gonna tell him? Like, you know what I mean? Am I gonna tell him? But obviously I'm very glad that I didn't tell him. But yeah, I thought about it because he told me about Julie, like, am I not gonna tell him about Drew? You know? So yeah.
It's a tough one.
Tough one. It sucks, but that's ultimately like what differentiated, you know.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this final five vote. It was wild. It was all over the place. What did you think the plan was going in?
I thought Katora was gonna go home. I legitimately thought Katora was gonna go home, and that's what I wanted to happen because I was gonna be happy bringing my number ones like to the finale, right? To the final three. So I thought she was gonna go home. Yeah, that was crazy. It wasn't until like right before, because Austin told me right before tribal, like, hey, I'm gonna write Julie. And I was like, all right, I'm not writing Julie. And I didn't know that Julie was gonna write down Jake. So I thought she was gonna write down Katora. So I genuinely thought that Katora was gonna go home. But we all blindsided each other. That was like the most insane final five vote. Like, I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
So if you thought Katora was going home when Jake played that idol for her, were you very concerned?
Yeah, I was for sure. I was like, oh my God, this leaves me, Jake, and Julie. And I don't think there were any votes for Jake because in my head, Julie voted for Katora. So then when I saw that one Jake, one Julie, one Dee, I was like, oh my God, that is insane.
Did you even realize how close it was for you until watching it last night?
No, well, no, not until watching. I knew like how close it was like after the show because we talked amongst ourselves as the cast. But no, I didn't think it was going to be that close because I genuinely didn't think that Jake would use his idol on Katora. I thought he would use it on himself since he had been like on the chopping block this entire time. So I thought that he was going to use the idol on himself. So yeah, I did not think it was that close. No, like at all, at all, at all.
It's so wild
Would have
to
been
think
the
it
great
was like,
moment to pick me out. It would have been
yeah,
it.
the one vote away. And you wouldn't
One
have
vote away. One vote away. Thank God. Thank God.
won. So obviously final tribal is a big deal and you have to like prepare to talk to the jury. How were you feeling going in?
I was feeling pretty confident because I knew I already had a list in my head of things I wanted to talk to the jury about. And I was waiting for like Austin to bring up the whole Emily thing so that I can like come in and like go in for the kill. But I also knew that like I knew I got along well with the jury. Like I liked them as people, they liked me as a person. And I knew that I wanted to make them feel like a variety of emotions. Like, for example, talking about my family, that's a little bit more emotional. My gameplay, more strategic and cutthroat. And then also like make them laugh. I wanted them to have fun, right? Because like these are people that like, yeah, they're voting for us, but we also voted them out of the game. Like they just lost their dream. So like the least we could do is like make them laugh and make them feel like they have a lot of power over us and that they feel safe. And so I feel like I did that, and I'm proud. I'm proud of that.
Did you, so obviously you had big reveals, you know, that you did tell Julie that, you know, you kept a secret from Austin about Drew. Were those like mic drop moments for you? Did you feel the tide turn for you?
In Final Tribal, or do you
Yeah,
mean
when you made your big
I,
reveals.
I felt it in during the game. I felt it during the game. I was like, this is gonna be my big reveals. So yeah, I did feel it, and it was rough because like Austin obviously didn't know until Final Tribal, but I knew that I had to keep that information. Otherwise, like I may potentially lose the game to another freaking great freaking player. So yeah, it was like when I looked at his face and like I feel like he kind of like diminished a little bit, and it was like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, but like this is the game. Like now we're going at it in the game, and it wasn't shown, but in the final four, final individual immunity that I won, and Jeff is asking me, I'm like telling Jake and Austin, I'm like, if you guys want to shit on my mom, do it, because I'm coming for you guys. Like, and that didn't make the cut, which it's crazy. I'm glad it didn't, because that sounds terrible. But yeah, I told them, I was like, I want to go to war. Like, I do not take it easy on me. And I told Austin, don't take it easy on me. I don't want anything handed to me. I want to earn this. So yeah, it was definitely some like shocking moments. Like I knew that that would be like a shocking moment.
It was, and you did earn it. Did you feel it though when the votes were being read? You were like, I got this.
I knew it would be close. I knew
Yeah.
it would be a close one, but I felt it. I felt it. Like honestly, there was never a moment in the game where I was just delusional from the day that I walked into Fiji. I was delusional as hell. I was like, I gotta win this game. I gotta win. Like I won in my mind already. So I felt it. I felt it, and I was trying to count the votes in my head, and then once that like the names were popping up, that I'm like, oh, there's no way there's another Austin in there. Like, this is me. And to hear Jeff say that, like, I'm still in shock. I still feel like I'm in Fiji. Like, Jeff just read the votes. It's unbelievable.
What does this whole experience mean to you?
Oh, that's a heavy question because it means so much. Like, it doesn't just mean one thing. I think it just solidifies the fact that like I can do things that scare me, and I'm not afraid to like just jump in blindly at something. Like obviously you playing Survivor for the first time, you don't know what to expect. It's the scariest thing you'll ever do in your life is play Survivor with all the cameras around and all the lying and all the people that you got to get to know, and you got to watch out for this and strategize and sleep deprived and count how many people are in the bed, and it's a mental war. It's mental war. So to me it just signified like perseverance, like knowing that like when I set my mind to do something, no matter how hard it is, like I'm gonna do it. And if I come out failing, it's not really failing, right? Like you still like learning and you can still guide people. But luckily like I came out like winning, which is great. So to me it just means like, man, someone out there is going to be watching me and would be like a kid out there is going to be watching me. Like I already took a picture with a little girl yesterday, and that made my night. I was like, oh my God, like I want that little kid to watch me and say, like, I want to do what she's doing, right? Like I want to apply for Survivor, or I want to do something that scares me, or like, hey, you know what? I want to like learn a new language. I don't know, whatever it means to them, right? Like to get out there and do something and like not live an average life. Like if you gotta do things that scare you, right? And like Survivor is like the biggest thing ever, the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, it's a little too scary for me. But what's next for Dee? Winning Survivor, what's next?
Oh my goodness. I have a whole list of things that I want to do. But first, I gotta figure out like the whole tax situation. And after that, like I'm not gonna do any big purchases. Like only thing I'll do is like obviously a property, like real estate, like things that will be good with time. And yeah, I'm just gonna like invest the money and make more money. Like I don't have a fun answer. I wish I had a fun answer. Maybe like my lease is almost over, so I'll probably get like a Jeep or something. Nothing And crazy. Yeah, I don't want to get into that world. Like I'm from Miami. There's enough stuff in there to see.
Well, you have fun. Keep doing things that scare you. It was
Oh,
so fun to watch you just dominate this season and take the win was the perfect ending to it all.
I appreciate you. Thank you and happy holidays.